Hello there everyone, thank you for joining us once again on the Colour Passion channel. I'm Kim Gow from Colour Passion, and today I want to do something totally different. It is a picture that I've printed on just an A4 copy on my ordinary standard printer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just demonstrate to you today how to grid it up. So that's the same picture, just gridded. And what I'm going to do is I've got a board, I'm going to grid that up, and we're going to basically transfer the information of, let's say, where the mountain is and the ice and things like that onto there. Then we're going to do section by section and cure in between, so that we can get what we need to do rather than try and do it all once and all bleeds into one another. I think this is probably a safer way to go. We're going to use the fast cure resin, which is fantastic anyway, but I mean, it's going to be perfect for this because I can do section by section and see how we go. So the only thing I'm thinking of, I might use the ultimate for the cloud section, the sky section, which is above the mountain here. I might try that and see how we go, but otherwise we'll use the fast cure. I'm sure it will be fine. And the colors we'll use Jackie Shimmer for down the bottom section here. We'll use classic blue for the sky, and I've got an ice blue luster. I'll probably use that for the cracks here in the ice, and I might add a little bit of the classic blue to that just to give it a little bit more depth. And I'm going to use the base white because I don't want lacing obviously on the top of this. So we're going to give it a go and see what happens. Who knows, but at least it'll give you an idea, and you could transform a photo that you like and you've been thinking that how can you do it, is to grid it up and then put it onto a board. And you know, it's wonderful to create something, and you know, you can say you did do it. So let's go and have some fun and see if we can get this to work. Okay everybody, here we are. We've got just two A4 printed copies. What I've done is I have gridded this one up, as you can see. All I've done is measured it in half, put a line, measured it in half, put a line, half again, half again, half again, half again. So that's how we grid up. Now, what we're going to do next is put the same lines on this piece here. So what I'll do is measure this across, and it's 40, so therefore it's going to be 20, and then 20 on this side here. And then what I'm going to do is draw the line to join them. So it's not difficult, and I think anyone could do it if you've got a ruler and a pencil. All right, I've got a, that'll be right, wouldn't it? I've got a bit of resin, would you believe, on this, and it's got a bit of a thing there. I might just see if I can get that off. Okay, back again. It's off. It's just a bit of resin that had run. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 60, so half is 30. Over this side, 60, got 30 being half. So now what I've done is I've just join them again, like I did before, without the crooked line of the resin. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll just measure halfway here. So it's 20, so that means that will be 10. That will be 10. It'll be the same on the other side here. 10 and 10. So now I will up a little bit. Simply draw my line here, draw my line here. And this is how we grid up actually for any artwork. When you're painting, you can do the same thing. If you've got a photograph and you want to do it to scale, this is how you would do it. Because it's not always easy. That's 30, so that's 15. It's not always easy to just be able to draw something from sight. So I'm just showing you how I would do it, or how I do it. If I want to do like something that's closer to scale, and especially because with this particular one, it's sort of like a realism photo, and we're going to try and do it in resin. I actually have done this picture many years ago when I first started with resin, and I can't remember how I did it now, but anyway, this is probably how I would have done it, so we'll see. All right, so now it's gridded up. It's exactly the same as here. So now what I want to do is I want to have a look and see on here. Okay, so we've got the hill, which is sort of about there, or the mountain, whatever it is. Okay, it's coming down here. We've got another bit coming out there. And so basically what you're doing is just looking sort of at the, up there, it's about midway there, that point. Down. And that's sort of on the corner really. And then we're just going to follow it through. And I'm looking at the next one here, and it's about midway, which is sort of there, and that comes down. I'll just lightly put it there to there. Then on this side, basically, I'll do the same thing. And that sort of comes to there. I'm not going to worry too much in here because I'll just look at the picture, I think, when I go to do it. This section here is sort of more up towards the top a bit more. So we're just going to put that sort of along here and a little bit down like that. So then we know that. It's roughly about midway, the bottom of that, of the mountain, approximately. And we've got a little bit over here as well. Right there and that there. Now we've got ice sort of along, you know, this section here. So I'm just going to sort of put a bit of a rough kind of line there for that ice, because the ice is also going to be going up sort of over here. Yep, you can see it there. All I'm doing is sort of just getting a bit of an idea. It doesn't have to be exact, but it you know, it's just something that we can follow along with. All right. So we've also got down here. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do the sky first. And we've got the next section down here. We've sort of got the reflection. So we need to kind of just sort of get a bit of an idea. Though probably what I'll do is I'll put probably Jackie Shimmer, the colour, all over the bottom. Then what I will do is from there I'll look at the gridding and then I'll put my lines in over the top of that. There'll be a bit of work here, I think. I think what I'll do is I'll put the lines kind of on the top. I don't want big thick ones because we can always make them bigger, but I'm thinking if I put the Jackie Shimmer and then put, I was going to go white, but I won't. I think I'll go a blue, maybe something like a nice blue luster, probably maybe something like that. I can add a little bit of colour to that. And then I'll put it down and then we'll see how we go. And I'm thinking I'll obviously let that cure, and I will probably come through with a pen, I think, and do like the really fine fracture lines. I'm not sure about that yet. We'll see how we go. And then I'll put a final flood coat over. But I thought I'd start with the sky first. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the blue. No, I'll put it away. I'll have to get it out. Yep, I'll get it out. I'm going to use obviously well, sort of a deepish blue. Then I'll put just a little bit of white on the bottom, and then I'll blow it up and see how that goes. I'm going to let that cure. Then I will come back and do the mountain and things afterwards. So the first bit is the sky and this section down here. Come back and do the rest later. So, okay, I'll be back in just a jiffy. Okay, everybody, here we are. I've just mixed up some resin to do that top section. I'm just going to see how we're going for our levelling. Okay, so it needs a little bit of adjustment. And I use these, you can get them from Bunnings or your local, gosh, mental blank, sorry. Anyway, it's for tiles. So your Bunnings in Australia, and I think it's Walmart possibly in America. And what it does, it's just like a little wedge, and you can just sort of slide it in gently, and that will even it up. So I'm just going to check now. Yep, that's perfect. A little bit more on this side. Let's see how we go. Right, that's pretty good now. It's important, excuse me, it's important that you have them level, because otherwise it's going to run, you know, the wrong way. All right, so here we are. I'm just going to be popping in the resin. So this I'm going to make up into the classic blue, more for the top part of the sky. It's a bit left over, but that's absolutely fine. So okay, here we go. So don't need a lot, just a little bit. Classic blue is a fantastic colour, and it is particularly nice for the sky. Okay, just giving that a good mix. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the Passion Base Cell White, because I don't want lacing on top. And this obviously, saying base, it normally goes underneath colour to get your effects. So, sorry, I just need another spatula. I go through so many of them. I should just leave a big bucket on my desk here, my workbench, work table, whatever. Anyway, so what I want to do, I want to wipe most of it off, because I don't want a lot on. I want it, if you can appreciate, like a high-low milk. So I don't want a lot. In fact, that's probably going to be enough. So I'm just going to take that out and, excuse me, stir it. That's better. It's hard sometimes getting it sort of just right, but I think that might be okay. I'm sort of looking how it's coating the spatula. I might actually put just a little bit more resin in. It's not going to hurt it. I think that's possibly a bit better. Yeah. Okay, let's see how we go. All right. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat this morning. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop this on here. When I looked on the grid on the photo, I noticed it was roughly sort of around this line up, and on this side there was a little bit more lower. So what I'm going to do now is just with my gloves, my hands, I'm just going to smear this over, because I don't want a huge amount of the blue, but I want enough that it's going to cover, and I might have to put a bit on the edge to sort of push it over the sides. Just gently. You can find you don't really need a lot of resin at all for this. I was quite surprised. Sorry, I have to keep coming around where the camera is. It's a bit awkward because it's obviously going sideways, but I need it this way so that you can see what we're doing. So I'll put it the other way. It's not going to work for YouTube and showing you. Shame I didn't get a picture that was landscape instead of portrait. That would have made life a bit easier for myself, but never mind. I'm going to push that up a bit there because it did run just a bit there. Okay. Don't mind if it's just a little bit above where that pencil line is. I'm fine with that. And I know the white on this side, if we look at it on our picture here, there, you can see that it's sort of mainly white here and then it goes up into there. So we'll just see how this works. Yeah, white down here coming up into here. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be okay. All right, so didn't need a lot at all for that. So now I'm going to put the white on. But as I said, the white is I've made it so that it's quite transparent. And then I'll get my heat gun and I'll blow it up and hopefully we'll have some success. Actually, because that's clear, you know what? I think I probably should get a rubber and rub that out. I've just spotted one. I was thinking, you know, where have I got a rubber? And I looked over and the universe provided. There was one. Okay, so. Oh dear. Did provide, but it's also a bit awkward. Alright, that should do it, I think. Let's get another bit of paper here. Still see it there, but because the rubber is quite old, and I'm just going to unravel it, I think, and try a fresh part just to see if I can get a better result. Okay, here we go, that's better. Okay, I might actually even just get that dusted off. Okay, I think we're right. Okay, here we are, we'll start. Okay, we'll go here, and I think we'll just go a little bit across here and down there. Okay, so all right, now she'll test it if it's going to work as we want it to. Right. Okay, so I'm just using my heat gun. displaced and I don't know why. Now, the thing that is bothering me, there's this harsh line here. So whilst the cloud is fine there, here it isn't. So what I'll do is I'll put a little bit more resin in that cup and add some more white and blow that up so that we are looking good. Because at the moment, we're not. Down that bit. Okay, so it's interesting too because just putting this across here, I might actually tilt it a little bit more just so that it's not running this way, it's going to run more that way. So we'll see how we go. Okay. Now, I don't want too much though. Okay. So it's quite light in the area, trying to not get the blue all mixed up in it. Up here, right, so okay, let's see what we're doing with this gun now. Just got it on low. Just to sort of push it up and over a bit. Unfortunately, it's not going to get exactly like what we want it to, but I mean, it'll still be an indicator of the cloud. Okay, now this other side here, I'll put more resin in. So we're not quite down yet on that bottom section here. Just putting it on with a spatula because otherwise if I try and pour it out it's going to be way too much. So I think like that is fine. Okay. It's sort of going more. Okay. Now the thing is with the fast cure, when you're heating it with a heat gun like this, I have found that you can't go over and over and over because if you do, you're going to end up with problems with it and it'll just like cure as you're heating it. So just bear that in mind. And sometimes it's like we keep going and pushing it, we probably just should leave it. And you know what? I think that is exactly what I'm going to do. Maybe this little bit I could push a bit more. Just hoping I'm going to do it okay. So hard to get it looking like soft, fluffy clouds. I'm just tapping off the side there because I don't want it too light. And yeah, we've got to be careful at this point because otherwise it will overdo it, and we don't want to do that. Okay. Just want to soften that. I'm just going to leave it at that, I think, because otherwise I'll mess it up. All right, so I'm now going to let that cure, and I'll come back later once this is cured, and then we can do the mountain, because then we'll have, you know, a line to work with. Okay. All right, so that's that. And then we probably now need to put a coat down here, which is obviously, you know, for this section here. So I'll need to mix up some more resin, I think. You might have enough. I want to add Jackie Shimmer to it. All right, I'll see how we go. We might have enough to smear it across, perhaps. No, you know what? It's better to be patient, isn't it? So I think I will be patient, and I'll mix up some more because I don't want to run short of what I want to do. So I think it's probably better to leave it. All right, we'll be back in a while once this cures. Okay, back again. I have mixed my resin, and I've got my Jackie Shimmer. Giving that a good stir. And adding it and giving it a good mix. Really important to make sure with pastes that you, or powders for that matter as well, but any pigments, that you mix it really well into your resin to make sure that it's properly combined. Okay. Okay. So I'm just looking at the colour of this one. Seeing if it's okay. All right, so now I'm just going to pour it over, and once again, I think I will just get my hands and just smooth it across, just to make sure that it's got a nice coverage. Takes a little bit of time, but I mean, you could pour it all over, but then it's going to probably just pour off anyway. So this way, we just put a coating on. And there's always ways that you can improve things as well, I find. Like, I'm thinking to myself, I've always done it like on white, but what I could have done was like sprayed it dark before I put this on, and then that way, you know, the white's underneath, because it's not a solid coating, it wouldn't show up as much. Just a thought as I was doing this, but I haven't done it before, so we're learning together. Just rolling it over the side so I get that coverage on the side. So I do like nice edges. Okay. Maybe I should have picked an easier picture. Okay. Now I'm just going to wipe my hands. Put just a bit more on actually. It's either that or the only other way I can do it is like another coat. I might even put a bit of, it's going off now. It's all right, I'm just talking to myself because I was thinking maybe I'd put a bit of the sky colour into it, but we'll just leave that for now. I'm just going to pop some more paste in. Actually, don't want too much, just a little bit. Leave that there. There we go. It's a gorgeous colour, this Jackie Shimmer. Probably the perfect colour, I think, for that, but gee, it's almost looking a bit turquoisey. Don't know why. Okay. It's probably not going to matter because underneath, in any case, you're going to get variations of colours. I think this is actually okay. I'm just trying to look at the picture once again now and thinking roughly where it was, where there was sort of like a section of lighter blue. And I'm just looking here, it's probably about there. Trying to find, I can still see them here at the minute. Where is it gone? There, so that's that one. I think down the bottom and up here. Okay, so it's probably across there. If I can just get some sort of guideline as to where I'm at, it just helps keep everything in the right perspective. So it's there. So it's there and then across to this one, I think. Yeah, it was there. The other one was a bit high. So that's okay. That there, and then again, I'm just sort of, this is very rough, obviously, and just sort of seeing where this will go. Up there, down there, so it's about midway here. Okay. Here for the moment. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to make the fractures a little bit in the ice. So I'll just put a little bit in, I think, and I'll do some of the sky colour, what we used, which was, I'm finding it, classic blue. So it sort of matches a bit with that because it looks like it does in the other. Yeah, we'll do blue. Then I'm thinking, as I said earlier, I'll put the ice blue luster into it as well, so it lightens it up a bit. Just gonna, gorgeous colour. Just gonna give that a bit of a stir and pop that in. Oop, don't need that much. Okay. Now, I think I should have gone more of the ice blue luster because it's looking too dark. Right. I might put a bit of the base white on in. Don't want that. We'll have a bit of white. Got to be careful because it's only a small amount. I'll keep adding it. Of course, I'm going over that 5 to 10%. Probably okay. Never be afraid to try and, you know, mix colours to see what you can get. I mean, all I've done here is I've mixed a bit of ice blue luster and the classic blue together and a drizzle of white. And I think I'm happy with that colour. So now what I've got to do though is I've got to try and work it into here. So we'll put, I don't know how this is going to stay because I have a sneaky suspicion that if I grab the the ultimate resin, which of course has got a lot longer working time, so let's have a look. We'll come there. Again, I'm just sort of following down to the corner, and then this one here comes out here. Then we want the lighter bit of ice through here. Because we actually want a bit more white down there, but for now this will be all right. Then just trying to get this right. Got that. Trying to look at the picture, and it's hard because it's, I can do it this way, it might be easier. Just copying, just roughly where it is. And these go all sorts of different ways. And I think the important thing, the important thing that I've learned here is not to make them too big. I mean, there is obviously some here are reasonably wide, but we don't want to overdo it because otherwise we'll spoil it. It's sort of like just a matter of popping things here and there. The fractures. Right, got that. Okay, so we've got here. I'm sorry if this is a bit slow going for you. You can always speed it up. I'm trying to do what I can. I figure it's better to do it in this blue because I can always come over with a pen later, I'm thinking, for the white, because we don't want to sort of overdo it at this point. Okay, so we've also got here, and a bit over there as well. I'll hit this with a heat gun in a minute. And then we've got ice and things up here, but we've also got, and I think what I'm going to do is let this set. I'm going to let it cure, then I'm going to come back, because when I do the mountain, what I'll do is I'll put the reflection into the water. I think that'll probably work okay. Just a bit across there, a little bit of how it had it. These ones here actually were quite big. Just going to put it like that. Thin coming into thickness. Okay. All right, so I'm going to hit it, I think, with a heat gun now and just see what effect we get from doing it with that. Okay, I'm just going to, I think, actually I might take that off. And I'm just going to have it on slow, see how we go. Because what I'm sort of looking at doing is, I suppose, softening the lines like it is in the picture. Okay. Looks like a jellyfish. Oh dear. Not to worry. Let's get this other one and just sort of, again, just pull it through a bit. Again, just a reflection, so it's probably looking better like that, I think. And again, just reinforcing in the middle of the these fractures of the ice. Okay. Again, just sort of making it look a bit sort of, I don't know, I suppose it is like a bit of ice. Maybe just a little bit up here. All right. All right, I'm probably going to have to babysit this a bit, I think. And just work with it. Try and get it how we want it. All right, so I think we'll stop it there and I'll babysit it and see how we go, and then come back. Put this down here. Come back, and then we might have to, you know, well, we will be doing some things once we've let it cured, and we've got to put in that the mountain and then the reflection of the mountain and more ice. So yeah, we'll get there and have a play. Okay, I'm back. I'm just letting that side of it set. I'm just thinking here on the sky, while I had some of this blue, I might put some of it across up here. This first bit's actually quite firm anyway, which is good. If I put some of this over, I'm thinking I can then come back over with some white and just add to it. I do like using my fingers. I'm thinking maybe for the clouds it's probably not a bad idea to do that, because it'll give it that maybe wispy cloud effect. Right, so now I'm going to have to get some white. Got a little bit left in my cup, so it should be fine. The other ones I think way too solid. So that into there, and then we're just going to pop a little bit of the white. A little stick, but should do the trick, I'm thinking. Really, I don't know why I just didn't put it straight into this one. Anyway. Again, giving it a good mix. And I'll get that bigger stick and put it on. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just sort of come over. It's got a bit of white on it, would help, wouldn't it? I'll do that. I might even have a little bit of this, the darker one. And maybe we can put that, but then again, it's going all turquoisey, but it'll probably pull it out okay from the bottom there of the picture. Sorry, I hope I'm not blocking the view and you can see what I'm doing. And I will probably put another coat over this anyway, so it doesn't really matter if this doesn't work. And I think that's the mindset you've got to be in, you know, just to give it a go and see what happens. All right. Okay. Bit too much white there now, but just bring it down a bit. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Where'd that dark one go? Over here. Again, just with my finger. And see. Just trying to get that softness in the clouds. Certainly don't want to be doing this when you're really tired, I think, because it's a tad frustrating. Oops, oh gosh. Making a nice mess there. Maybe I should have just started it with my fingers in the beginning, perhaps. Okay. Just putting that all across the top there, just so that it kind of makes some sort of sense into the colour down the bottom here, as opposed to it being too blue, I'm thinking. Okay. Well, we've got heavy rain just coming down. All right, I think I'm going to leave it at that, and then I will probably come over and put some sort of sheer coat over it. I might just actually hit it with the heat gun once again, just to soften it a bit. See what we can do, and if all else fails, well, we'll just do another coat. It's interesting that it's lacing a bit, and the reason is because I've mixed the base and colour on the top. So anyway. Don't know. All right, we're just going to leave it at that for now, I think, and then I'll come back and do something with it later. I just had a thought. What I'm going to do, I'm going to, with the mountain, I've just put some Pilbara ochre in just with the white because I want to have it a bit textured, and so I thought, well, if I can put maybe the first coat on now, it will probably make good sense to do that. I mean, obviously the other colours are going to go onto this later. It just allows me to have a bit of texture. I'm just going to go down with the good old fingers. You could do it with a spatula, you still get the same effects. But I just like getting my fingers into it. So it's really, I suppose, just like a primer coat almost. Okay. And because this colour's going to go over this, I'm not that worried. I'm just really just covering it. And that's where ice is going to go along the bottom there, so I'll put that up afterwards, so that'll be fine. Let's push this down a bit. It's just a way of just using up the resin and not wasting it, I guess. Okay, put a bit of it on there. That bit there is actually quite dark, but even if we just put something on there, and we could probably do the same actually with this side. It's again just covering it as a base. Now I do want to have something there that I can see that there's a difference between the two, so I might actually even just pull it, because that over that will be fine, just so I can see kind of where that shadow starts. Okay. All right, then we just know then that that's that area, and then this bit here actually is a shadow as well coming down here. So I always just put that there, just so I've got, again, just a bit of a guideline of where it is. I must admit, once I get everything down and then come back into the detail, that's the bit that I actually really love. And this is quite rough, and that's actually how I want it to be. Bit of a darker colour there. It'll be fine. Okay, so enough babysitting, I think. A couple of little cells have opened up on there. We'll just come back through again. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but I'm just doing what I hope will give, you know, a good result. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's it. I've had enough fiddling, I think. So we'll come back once this is cured and continue. Okay, everybody, here we are back again. We're continuing on. What I've done is I've just lightly sanded it because it's been a few days since I worked on it because I had other things I had to do. So now what I've decided to do, I'm just going to get a Posca pen and I'm just going to reinforce perhaps those white lines rather than try and do it all with resin, which you know, could be a little difficult. Okay, so it's down here. And that's, I think that comes probably more to there. And it's just a matter of playing around with it, really. I've got this other pen here, which is a metallic pen. I don't want it, you know, sort of all of them to be really light. So I'm just going to sort of just lightly put it on. Okay, so we're sort of coming across from here. Just little fracture lines in the ice. And I'm sort of trying to make it a little bit sort of realistic. So they were sort of like that. They weren't just like one sort of line either. Same with down here. And we've got up here and down. Almost reminds me of a geode in, you know, in a little way. And we've got kind of across, coming across here, and then that sort of actually comes across out there. And then we sort of got the white here. See, we can do this in layers. It's really not an issue. Just playing around with it, basically, I suppose, and you know, until you're happy. All I'm doing is sort of looking at the picture, getting a little bit of a guide from it. Down here. And we've got down here. Across here. Okay. Okay. So I think you get the idea. You're just looking at the picture, and then from the picture, you're basically just following it a bit, putting your own, you know, spiel on it. And we are going to come down here, of course, with the reflections from the mountain too. So I might actually leave it at that for now. Then what we'll do, we will come in, I think we'll do the mountain, a bit more texture with that. And then we can bring it down here. And then I'm going to put the ice on there. And then with this here, I'm thinking I might just put a coat of clear, but just with a little bit of aqua in it, just to push it back a bit, because being white's going to bring it forward. If I make it a little bit darker, it's going to push it more back into the background, which I think is going to look better. So we'll give that a go. All right, I'll just mix up my resin and we'll get going. Okay, everybody, I'm just mixing now. I've mixed some Pilbara ochre. I've mixed some chestnut. I'll pop a little beach sand luster in just for the lighter sections of it, always making sure I give it a bit of a stir before, which I've just spotted there's a bit of something blue that dropped into that. We'll just get that out. There we go. Again, we don't need a lot, just a little, because we've only got a small amount in these cups, so we don't want to overdo the ratio. That's beach sand luster, and we'll have some ebony luster. We could just use straight black, but I just think I'll use the ebony luster. In fact, the one I'd like to use, but I don't believe I've got any here, is the one that's got the gold in it, because it is absolutely stunning. But anyway, this will also be stunning, so we'll just go with this one, which is ebony luster. Giving that a good mix. All right, and I probably think I'd like maybe just a bit of a highlight with some gold. Just seeing what I've got here. It's gold here, I'm not even sure what it is. It might be like the bit of the molten gold, so I'll pop a bit of that in and see what happens with that. Again, I just want a little bit of a highlight with it. I don't want to overdo it. So just a little bit into the clear. Actually, I was thinking that might be quite nice, putting some of that actually into the Pilbara ochre, because I have already got Pilbara ochre on the bottom there. So maybe what I can do is just add a bit of gold to it and see what it does. I like that very much actually. I think I'm going to add just a smidge more. So it lightens it a little bit. Yeah, that's lovely. Okay, never be afraid to have a go at adding something to another colour, because it can do wonderful things. All right, let's go. So again, I've got the picture to one side here, and it's a bit hard. I wish I had chosen a landscape rather than a portrait on its side, but anyway, you'll get the gist. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically sort of pop it down in kind of like streaks. We've got over here. And I'm just going to put bits of it through because I'm going to come obviously over with the other colours. And the darker one obviously is going to come over it as well. Okay. And we'll see how that goes. So that's that one. I think we'll add maybe the brown next. And again, this isn't straight. No mountain is. So I'm just sort of, probably a bit wide there, but anyway. And it's never a solid colour either, which is why I'm quite happy for this to be like this. And we'll just mix it as we go down. Just realise I splashed that there. Okay. Down we go. Oh dear, I've done it again, haven't I? Just use a bit of this just to wipe it off. Okay. And there's quite a contrast actually along here with like really dark foliage. So I'll just put this here, I think. Then I might come over the top with some black. And just come down here a bit more. Again, I'm just mixing really a bit of the both of them, because by doing that it's going to give probably a better touch of realism. And I'll come over the top as well for the lighter patches, perhaps where maybe the sunlight is hitting it. Coming down here. And this is something that, you know, you can start with one layer and you can wait till it cures and then come over and do several other layers over the top until you're happy to get it to where you like it. Now, this one is a little bit smoother here, so I'm just going to come down like so. That'll do. And then I've got ice on this section as well, sort of more up the top. So again, I don't want to go too overboard. In fact, it's quite a bit lighter than this. So I'm just putting that there, and then I'll probably come up with a bit of, what do you call it? A bit of, sorry, beach sand luster is what I'm trying to think of. Okay. Put that there. Now, it's a matter of putting the shadows. Gosh, I think I might get another white because I don't want to contaminate it. Okay. Oops. That's my insulin pump telling me I'm going low, so I'll have to probably stop and go and grab something to eat. I'm so sorry, everybody. The joys of being a diabetic. It always seems to happen when I get excited and I'm with you guys. All right, I'll be back shortly. Okay, I'm back again. Sorry about that. Okay, where were we? We're doing this. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of light on now. because I know that it's going to mix up a bit with the darker anyway. Again, I'm sort of just kind of looking at the picture and getting a little bit of an idea on different shapes and colours. And keeping in mind that we've got shadows, so that's what I'm bearing in mind at the moment. Okay, that's in a minute because I'm going to be putting the ice along here. So I might have to mix up a bit of white actually and come over, but we'll see. I was probably going to do that in the next run once this had cured. Now we've got that bit there, so it comes down here, and then we've got down this side. Take that off there because I want it light. Like I said, you can do this in layers if you want to. Do the first bit, and then you can always come over and do a second layer. In fact, it probably might work quite well because if you leave it so that it's really tacky, then you kind of probably going to get a better texture, I suggest. So that's something to think about as well. Okay, so down here we've got the dark. So we want to come with the black. Bearing in mind it's going to be like, obviously, the shadow. Over here. Okay, so here we go, and there's bits sort of coming down here as well. I think I've gone a bit wide here actually from what the picture is showing. So what I'm going to do is I'll get some light. I actually don't know if that was recording. Okay, well, if it wasn't, I'm back. And I'll just continue on not tracing, but using the picture as a guide and just placing your colour down. Okay. Bring this down here because we're going to bring the ice up over it in a while. Or maybe the next layer, I think, once it's cured. That naughty pussy, he always knows when I can't get to him and when does he want attention. Right now, because he wants to get out the door, but he knows he can go around the other door. Anybody else have little mischievous pets like that? They play on you, don't they? Come on, Charlie, out you go. Okay. Okay, a little bit down here. Just put Charlie, out you go, come on. No, he's talking to me now because he says, Mum, I want to go out. But then 5 minutes later, he'll come back like, oh, I want to come in now. So I'm not going to let him get away with it today. Let's have a look. Yeah, this area here is dark, kind of darker, coming down this area. Okay, coming down to here. Right. Trying to get the light was sort of on this side of the mountain, and then obviously that's the shadow there. Okay. You can fiddle with this for ages, actually. The resin's, I mean, it's got plenty of time to work with it today because it's not that hot at all. In fact, it's quite cold today here in winter. So even though this is the fast cure resin, cooler it is, obviously, the more time we're going to have. Right, so we've got just sort of looking here because there is like little bits of dark bits still down it. Sort of see how we go with that. Okay, I might put this bit here actually has like a bit of a lump out of it. I can see that up near the top. So I'm just going to kind of put that up like so. And see if we can sort of get it resembling like a mountain. Okay. And I guess, look, you could come over with a Posca pen to do fine little detail work if you wanted to. That's another option you do have. Just sort of trying to make this up a little bit so it's jagged and looking maybe a bit more like a mountain top. If you were painting, of course, you would go and stand back and look at this a few times just to make sure that it sort of looks okay. Just going to put a bit more of that orangey colour down. So it's quite pretty actually with that gold in it. Okay. Okay. And I did get some gold. I don't know if I really need it now that I've made it up, but I can probably put maybe just a little bit on because it might sink a bit into it anyway. It's just sort of just adding to the picture a little bit. It's really not needed, but let's have a look. Okay. Okay, putting all that there. Again, just over here, just a bit of light colour because I want to have snow over the top there. But this is probably okay for now. Okay, just along here, right. And again, over this side here, we're also going to have the trees and everything and snow. So I think we're going to leave the snow until this cures because that way it will glide on much better. All right, so what we'll do now, I think next, what we'll do now, and I'm thinking it's either we'll do the sky area because I've got a bit of resin left and I think that's probably going to be a good amount to do it in. So I'll pour it into one of my little cups and I shall put a little bit of the aqua. What have I got here? Oh, that's the sapphire one, that's okay. I don't want a lot, just a little bit. Because it's very transparent, even though it looks blue. I mean, of course it's blue, but I mean, you can see there it's very clear. But it might be just enough to push this back. I'm just going to put this all along here. And then I will smooth it across with my hands. I think that's a good way to go. Up to here. Let's have a look. Okay, I'm just gently nudging it down to where the top of the mountain finishes. Okay. Okay, just coming across here again. It's hard because it's wet. If it was dry, of course, it would be easier. But I think we'll be all right. Even if I miss a couple of spots, because what I'm thinking I can always do is do like a clear flood coat at the end. So it's not really a drama. But actually doing it like this is probably not a bad idea at all, because as I said to you, it's going to push it back a bit, which is what we want. We want the mountain at the top, you know, just to come forward. We want the sky in the background. And of course we want the ice down the bottom. And that's the next thing I've got to do. I've got to use the mountain colour resin to make a reflection in the water, sort of before the ice starts. Or maybe it is a reflection on the ice actually. Could be wet ice, a bit of water before it. Okay. Just pushing it across like so. Okay, there we go. Okay. Well, I guess an oil painting or acrylic painting would take a lot longer to paint actually than what we're even doing here with the resin. But it's still, I just wanted to show a technique that really I haven't seen anybody demonstrate before, and it's really just how to do more of a realism picture with resin. So I hope that you're getting something out of this today. Please let me know in the comments down below. Okay. All right, so I've just made sure that the resin is all wet around that edge so that we're going to have that our nice edge still. Okay, so we've done that. And it doesn't matter actually if it is a bit blotchy because it's sky and it's, you know, like here it's cloud, and we actually probably want that a bit lighter anyway. So I can even kind of push it back over a bit more. It won't matter because it's blotchy like a cloud kind of is. Okay, there we go. Maybe a bit more, seems I managed to get some colour on there. There we go. All right, leave that there for now. I'll let that mountain settle, and now what I'm going to do is, let me see, probably come across down a little bit. Oh, that's the darker one, so I think we'll do, if you can imagine, it's coming down the same as what it's reflecting above, but it's coming obviously down into the water. So we want to remember our bits here, and it will obviously be through the cracks as well because the reflections don't stop just because we've put a piece of artwork in the road, if that makes sense. Okay. We've got this bit here, and it sort of comes around like that. And again, I can always come over this again once it's cured. And I'm going to do a clear coat over here anyway, so we'll just see, because I'm going to put the ice on next. Okay, so we're going to come down like so. Because reflections, believe it or not, are always darker than the real deal. Always go darker. Did you know that? If not, well, you've learned something today. Let's have a little look. That's coming down here. Okay. Okay, up and up. Okay. I'll do a little bit of the black because it is, again, reflecting on kind of what's above. Okay. Okay, maybe just a bit of light colour over here, matching up what's above, remember, here. And across to there. Just putting it down here. I don't know, as I said, I'm going to have to put ice over it. I'm just trying to work out how I'm going to do that, whether I do let this cure and then put it on, or if I mix up. I have got some resin left, so I probably could mix up some white, at least maybe try it. If it doesn't work, well, I can always let it cure and then come back afterwards, can't I? Okay. Okay, so, all right, so now what we want to do, get some ice. So mix up another little cup with some white. Okay. I'll use the base white. Actually, I might use a small stick even. So I'm going to use the base white. Let's have a look and see how we go with this. So I'm a bit nervous about doing it. But maybe, you know, as I said, because it is a reflection and there's ice on here anyway. So we'll just put a little bit on. Okay, this way. Okay, so it sort of comes down a bit like so. Okay. I'm sure it's not the best representation of ice on water, however, you get the gist, I'm sure. Oops. And you sort of, so there's like little bits of ice kind of. There we are, that's probably a little bit more realistic, isn't it? Okay. A little bit of white here because it was quite icy in this section. And again, it's not going to look like smooth water because it's icy. So I think we just have to improvise a little bit. Gosh, there's my pump going again, and I just had a big sugar hit. It just takes a while sometimes for it to get into where we want it to go. Okay. probably a good idea for this side to even it up a little bit. It's a bit blobby. Okay. Oh dear, I think I'll get this sugar sorted. Sorry everyone. Okay, well, we'll just leave it at that for now, and then I'll come back shortly and check it and see what we can do. Okay everybody, I'm back after treating my low sugar challenges of being a diabetic. Okay, so what I've been doing, just sort of started to put the white over here, but I have to put the dark up because there's trees like on that line, like a tree line, up along the top there. So I don't know if it's going to work, whether I should wait until it's dry before I do it, but anyway, we'll just dab a few little bits here and just see if that's going to work. It may not, because they're quite fine, so I thought I'll get a small stick and do it. It's going to mix up, so it's probably not. But you know my motto, we'll just give it a go and see what happens. Because otherwise we're never going to know, are we? Okay. I think maybe that's not going so well. I think I might wait until it cures, I think, and come back and do that one. Because it's, when they're all running together, it's probably not a good time to do it, is it? Yeah, I think I might just let this sit. That would be the smarter thing to do. All right, so I have got a little bit of resin. So I'll just get another little cup and I'm going to mix up some more white. Seems the other one I've got quite it's coloured now. Dipping it in. And I'll just make up a bit more ice. I might actually use the top cell white and just see how that goes. Let's have a little look. Because the base seems to sort of balloon out, bloom, and I really don't want that. So, all right, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a stir like I always tell you we do. And then mix up. And it's really got quite thick now, which is good. So it's probably going to be quite good to spread for ice, I'm thinking. See how we go. And I think that spatula's probably too big, so I've got a smaller one here. I think I have. Okay. Let's just have a little bit of a go along here. Putting some ice along here. And then what I'm going to do is come and drag the stick back up sort of into the colour. Because everything's wet and I'm trying to do it, it's probably not really advised. If I was doing this myself and not for you guys, I probably would let it settle a bit and cure rather than keeping on pushing it like I'm doing. I guess I just want to get it done for you guys and also for myself. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, just going to keep coming along because it is getting really quite thick now. But as I said, I actually like that because we might be able to get a bit more texture out of it. And I think it would be better, certainly, if the other was cured. But anyway, we'll see. Oops. Just going to go along here. I'm just going to go that way for now. Rather than try and push it up, I'll just let it go for a bit. Okay. It's possibly starting to look like it's making a little bit more sense now. A long way from being close to the picture, but you kind of get the idea. And it does take a long time and many, well, bits of layers, I suppose, and adjustments along the way. But, you know, if this was, say, an oil painting, I mean, it would be no different. There would be lots of layers, lots of stages as well, because I know I've done it. But doing it in resin is quite a challenge and something a little bit different to do. I'm always thinking about something different I can do for you guys, so please give me suggestions. I know that one of our lovely ladies wanted me to use the high build, and I will do something with that shortly. In fact, I was having a think about doing it, even putting the edges of the mountains and everything around with it, but I decided against it and just continued on with how I'm doing it. All right, so we sort of got that. Now, what I want to do is kind of do along, and then, because in the picture there's quite a bit of ice, like right up, like close to it, like a row. So that's what I'm now trying to do, and it's very stringy. Kind of like that. Okay, you can kind of get the idea or the impression of having, you know, the reflection coming down. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so now what we want to do is ever so gently, we want to make this look a bit like ice. So I probably need to put just a smidge of tint in this bit of resin that's left here. See how we go. Again, I'm just putting just a little bit of gel tint. There's not much resin there, so of course it does look very blue. I might just see if I can ooze out a bit more in this container, because there is some more here. Okay. That's better. Okay, so what we're going to do now, just going to come by with just little bits of blue like so, and then I'm going to push it up so that it does look exactly like, hopefully, like ice would. once it mixes with the white, of course, it lightens up a bit. Gosh, it's very messy, I know. It really would be probably much easier, you know, to leave this so that the top is cured, but anyway. Trying to make it look like ice in all those fine bits. Okay, so glue along here. And there's nothing to stop me from coming over again once this is cured with another little application perhaps of white and just, you know, fine-tuning it. So we'll see how we go, but this is getting, I can see it's getting very stringy. Okay, let's put it down here. Okay, just going to leave it like that, I think. Just a little bit down there, not a lot. Okay. All right, we'll just leave it like that for now, I think, and I will come back tomorrow and see what else we can do. Okay, here we are again. I've just done a light sand over this, and I'm going to start to add a bit more detail into it. I'm thinking I'll start probably up and then work down. I'll leave the sky and I'll just do a bit more work on the mountain there. I've mixed my resin. This is the Fast Cure, Colour Passion Fast Cure resin. And I only need small amounts actually, so I might even go for these really tiny little containers, because it really is only a small amount that, you know, just for detail work. I mean, if this was an oil painting, I'd have my small brushes out and doing things, but anyway, we'll see how we go with this. I'm thinking I probably want a little bit of light, so I'll put a little bit of that beach sand together. Don't need much because remember it's only a small amount. Probably should have used a smaller stick, but anyway, as long as it mixes it up thoroughly, it's fine. Okay. All right, we'll just pop that to one side for now. So maybe some light. I'm actually thinking with that one, I could probably have a little bit of Pilbara ochre. Just wondering, yeah, I'll do it in a separate one. Let's see how we go. I'm thinking also actually to have the darkness and little bits and pieces, but it may be better actually that I even perhaps do that with a pen after it's cured, that might work better for the detailed work, I'm not sure. I have got one little silicone brush here, so I might try that. And I want to put some more ice here and go across the ice on the bottom there. So we'll do that. And then with this here, it's a bit heavy. So I'm going to come back with some of the Jackie Shimmer and break that up a bit. Then I might leave that, let it cure. I might, you know, put down some more lines and things on the bottom here. Anyway, we'll see how we go today. All right, let's start adding in a little bit more down here. Very hard because it is just rocks after all. I'm just going to mix it together. I don't think it's going to matter because that will lighten it up a bit, I'm hoping. So I don't want too much depth there. Bring that across here. We've got this down here actually. There is a lighter patch there that I can see on the picture. So I just want to make that lighter. I'm really mixing it up on the top, but that's fine. No one said this was going to be easy. Nothing like a little bit of a challenge. And I still want a bit more, just a little bit of detail over here. I want it so that it's giving the appearance of texture rather than a smooth amount. So I guess if I just put little bits and pieces across it, I'm hoping that's what we're going to achieve. And it may be, if it keeps sort of clumping together, I'll wait until it's nearly cured and then I'll just maybe come over with a cloth and just sort of dab it, just to sort of break it down a little bit perhaps. Just want to have a little bit in there. So say I'm just looking at the picture for guidance. Give me a bit of an idea of what I'm doing here. This doesn't need to be too full. I had it a bit, you know, a bit much, I think. So I'm just sort of coming back over it, and that's the beauty of this. You can just go over and over it, really, until you're comfortable with it all. And so that it, I guess it just looks a bit more like rock. That's fine. Because it's, after all, it's kind of like shadows as well. So we're sort of trying to get that right. And then over here, because that little bit there is not too dark. It is in the shadow, but it's not too dark. So I just want to sort of come down a little bit there. And see, I know this bit here is darker, so it may be that I need to add a bit more depth into that. And the way I'm thinking to do that would be to mix up a little bit of the black. It's either the black or the chestnut, but maybe I'll do the chestnut. Just a tiny amount, oops, once again. And we'll get the chestnut. I know this is a long video, but it's a process. It truly is, and it's really difficult my end to try, and I can't really speed it up because I just have to do it bit by bit because it is something that really haven't done before. Okay. So I'm really hoping that it's going to turn out okay. There we go. Just kind of adds it a little bit in. Just to try and get that bit of realism into it. When I was doing my oil paintings, I was really into detail. Loved doing all the detail. The blocking out I thought was a bit boring, but certainly, you know, the rest of it was fantastic. Okay, so we've got that. I might just put a few little bits of darkness through this side, just to sort of balance it up a bit. Just trying to get that up the top so it's a bit more pronounced. Because when I did it, remember, I sort of had the sky wet as well and it ran into it a bit. But I think we're getting there. I don't really want this blurry, so I'm just going to add just a little bit more darkness up here as well. Again, so that it looks as realistic as we can make it. Again, I don't want a big blob of colour. Just want bits of edge there for rocks. Okay, well, it's looking a bit more textured, so we'll just see how we go with that, I think. All right, so now we'll move on to the next bit, and I think the next bit we'll do some ice. So I'll make up some white. So even here. That's there, and just stir our paste a bit because it's quite cold here and the white is quite stiff, so we do want to make sure that it's doing what we want it to do. Okay. I've wiped pretty well most of it off that spatula, so it's just a little bit there. Okay, just giving that a good mix. Okay, so now I'm going to come over with my little, I think this is probably a good tool to use, just adding more white for the snow. Oops. Because on the picture there's just little bits of you know, white here and there. That's what I'm trying to, I guess, duplicate. It's actually quite therapeutic doing it. I just hope it's not too boring for everybody who's watching, because I know it's taking a long time. Okay, so we might just push this up because I've got to come across and do the tree line there a bit more, but I think I'm going to wait until this is cured before I attempt that, so that it doesn't all run into each other. I think that probably looks okay. Just a bit down here. Yep, that's good. Okay. So this side, I'm just going to put a little bit here because there is lots of trees to go in actually on that top bit there. So I'm just going to do it like that, I think. Now, I'm going to go across here and see how we can make this look a bit more realistic. I think if I just go across and then I'll come back up, push it up. If this is a bit boring, feel free to fast forward. Because when I put on the ice, when I last worked on this, it actually made it, I think it mixed up a bit with the darker colours and sort of dirtied it. That's why I thought I'll come back over and see where we go to from here. Okay. Probably almost have to wait actually until it gets really sticky. You know, so that it stays up a bit. Okay, I think I'm going to leave that, and then I'll probably come back when it's sticky and then push it up a bit and see, you know, if that gives a more realistic look about it. Okay, so now we've sort of got some white streaks over the dark, so I can probably still do that, I think, because it is actually too heavy down here anyway. And I think it's definitely better to use the top cell white as opposed to the base cell, because I found that the base cell sort of bloomed and we don't really want that. Okay. I don't want it too thick, so I'm just trying to pull out that middle section. All right, okay, we'll leave it at that, I think. Now what I want to do is I want to use a bit of the Jackie Shimmer just to bring in a bit of darkness, I think, back into that bottom bit there that looks a bit too much. Okay, this one is brand new one, just opening it up. Beautiful, such a gorgeous colour. After our co-founder, Jackie Yates, who's now officially back in the business. She's returned from July the 1st, so it's just wonderful to have her back on board again. Such a creative person, and I just know that we're going to have some fun, and you'll see lots of new ideas created. Okay, so this is our Jackie Shimmer, and again, let's pop down a bit. Yeah. I'm just going to basically just come back like this, just to add a bit more darkness to it. Obviously, we don't want to block out the reflection because that is what it is meant to be. But just want to have it so that it kind of looks okay. I'm going to put a bit of that up here, and the reason is because it's such a pretty colour, it kind of does look like that blue in the eyes. Don't want to go too overboard. Okay. Okay, so we've got this coming out here. We sort of need to put a bit, I guess, around it as well, because the colour goes so well. Actually, it's Maybe you could even rub it, see what happens. Just putting a smidge of it over so it breaks up the ice a bit. And over here, maybe I'll put a bit of, just a bit of isopropyl alcohol on, just to thin it a bit and just spread it. Actually, I like the way that this colour is pushing back that ice, and it's a good colour actually. It's good. Happy, happy. Okay, just gently putting it over it. I think it's actually going to be a good idea, and that's what I'll do. I'll just spritz it and then just smooth it over all of it, I think. Because then I can come back in once it's cured and, you know, do the finer details. I think I'll be happier with that. Because the Jackie Shimmer sort of has a really like midnight blue about it, it's making the colour more realistic, I think. Just over the top of this. Yeah, I'm much happier with it actually. Yep, that's good. See, you know what I always say, if you don't give it a go, you're never gonna know. See, now I would never have thought to do this before, so I'm really chuffed actually for trying this. Just to give it a really light film over the top. Very happy. Because we can come back over and just put a little bit more ice next layer. I'm not perturbed, you know, at all about that. And it actually makes it look deep by going over it like this. So now I can come back over, I think with a pen, and just do all the fine fractures. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Who knows? You know, we just got to give it a go. See what happens. Yeah, I think that's an improvement. I hope you agree. Just gonna scrape this across a bit. Even though I'm scraping it on the edge of the spatula, I think it'll be fine because it's going to move anyway. Okay. Again, we're just fiddling. Trying to get these icicles to look like icicles. Just touching on that blue, just to sort of make it look a bit like what it would look like. Not that I've ever seen this, but I can only imagine, and it is my dream, to either go to Alaska or Antarctica. Okay. Okay, let's just do that. Okay. Well, look, let's leave it at that for now. We'll let this cure and then I'll come back and do the next bit. Okay, everybody, here I am again. What I've done is I've just put a few lines in just with like a thin Posca pen. I've just sort of come down here. Now I'm just going to do some line work. This is with a silver one because I'm looking at the picture of basically, you know, the line work that's across. So I'm really, I suppose, just trying to, you know, copy that. So I'm just going to put fine ones across so that it sort of, you know, maybe resembles, I guess, some fractures in the ice. It's actually not so easy to add these kind of details. But anyway, you'll get the idea, I'm sure. So I've got it down here. Oops. And I guess really it's kind of just using your bit of imagination from this point, because it is just fractured ice or cracked ice. Just something to sort of make it, you know, look, well, I guess a little bit realistic. And they don't all kind of go one way, do they? They kind of go all sorts of ways. I mean, I suppose you can fiddle around with this sort of thing for hours, just working out, you know, how you're going to do things, where you're going to put them. But it's just kind of a bit of an idea, just a bit of a play, I suppose, of seeing where things are. Because in nature, of course, we know that, you know, nothing's straight and even, is it? It's just everywhere, really. Got one there. Just sort of wanted to give you an indication of, you know, the sort of things that you could do. Just sort of had here, it was a bit, I sanded it back a little bit, but perhaps I shouldn't have, I don't know. But we're just sort of playing a bit there. Just rubbing it a bit, just to sort of give it that softness of maybe a bit like a reflection. Okay, we'll just sort of come here. Okay. All right, I think that's enough because otherwise we're just going to simply overdo it. So what I did also was in the lines up here, I also did a bit of a darker colour. So I did the silver, but I think I need it even maybe a little bit darker again. Just that's the breakup, I suppose, of the ice. Just again to add that little bit of realism. We don't want it too dark because otherwise it will bring it forward. Ideally, I should have gone out shopping for a finer point. I thought I had them here, that's why, anyway, I'm just making do with this one. Just to sort of pop it in there. Okay, all right then guys, well look, we'll leave it at that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a flood coat over it all to finish it off. And I'll show you when we do that. Okay, here we are back again. I've just mixed up my resin. I've popped a little bit of the sapphire gel tint in. Well, I'm just going to go over the bottom one with this. Just a tint to sort of push it back a little bit. And this is the Fast Cure, the Colour Passion Fast Cure art resin. So I'm just going to smear it over with my gloved hand. And hopefully it's all going to work its magic. All here. Just a little tint of blue. It's not much at all, but just a little bit to sort of knock it back a bit so that it pushes it deeper, or gives that impression that it's a bit deeper. Okay, a little bit more across here. Then what I want to do, I want to go to the clear. Still got, just going to wipe my hands so that I don't contaminate everything else. Okay, so we've got a little bit left, so I'll just use that bit. I did realise actually that this is running up this way, but because I'm sort of doing it how can I say it? I'm doing it the wrong way so that I can fit it on the camera for you. I'm doing it sideways, and it's not the same as doing it sort of like landscape. It's actually quite difficult. Next time I do this, I will definitely be doing it portrait, not landscape. All right, just pushing that across there, and I'll just give it, sorry, just a little bit more here, a couple little spots there. And I'm just going to hit it actually with the heat gun, just to get rid of those excess bubbles. Okay, done that. Now what we'll do is we'll just pour across the top and smooth that out. Okay, there's still a bit in there, but we'll just go gently with it, see how we go. Just wanting it to come down and meet up with the other resin, so that we've got a full, like a flood coat over everything. Gosh, it's certainly been an epic tutorial, hasn't it? I hope that you've gotten something out of it. Please let me know if you have in the comments down below, because it's certainly been a labour of love on my part, because I really wanted to do this. And I wouldn't let it beat me, even though it's it's a bit crooked across here. But anyway, that's okay. No, my pussycat's in the studio. He's decided he wants to go out, and he can just wait. So naughty, they know, don't they, when you don't want to be disturbed. Okay, just making sure we've got enough all around those outside areas. Make sure that the edges are nice. I'll just run my fingers around and I can feel, because if it drags, you know that it's not covered sufficiently. But that feels pretty good to me. Wonderful. So what we'll do now is going to wipe my hands again to get rid of the resin, and then I'm going to hit it with the torch again, just to release those bubbles, and then I'm going to leave it, and hopefully in the morning it will all look pretty good. Just realised that there's a couple of little spots around here that it didn't quite cover. Just going over there to make sure. I always like to look at it in the light, in the reflection of the light, then I can get a true idea if it's covered, or if there's any gaps or bits of hair or fluff or whatever. Okay, just hit it with the torch again. And sometimes there's just a bit of surface tension, and if you see it opening up, just touch it with your finger around it, and it should fix that little bit of surface tension. I think that's right. Good. Okay, everybody. Well, we'll leave it for the reveal tomorrow. Hello, everybody. Here we are for our review. Excuse the light, but I've had to do this inside because it is horrible outside, unfortunately. Here we are. We've got some beautiful little bits of shimmer really, it adds to it actually. You can see it down here. This was the Jackie shimmer. Really is quite pretty. And then we've got on our mountain as well. You can see the shimmer coming through here. Just little glistening bits. It's just enough to add a bit of interest. Our sort of tree line and our snow and our ice. And our wild sky. It didn't turn out quite how I wanted it, but anyway. Just got to try and experiment with different things, I guess. Okay, everybody, that's it for this week. And remember my catchphrase, if you don't give it a go, you're never going to know, are you? So what are you waiting for? All right, everybody, thank you for your company for this tutorial, and I look forward to your delightful company next tutorial, and please leave me a comment. Love to hear what you think. Okay, bye for now.